What up, squad? D20 here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about making the transition from recruit to veteran in Back 4 Blood. Many of us are starting to find recruit to be rather easy, but veteran is still giving more than a few people more than a few problems. So let's take a look at some solutions that I found to be pretty effective in making the transition from recruit to veteran. The first and probably most important thing to keep in mind when making the switch from recruit to veteran is that sleepers are going to be much more punishing now. Previously just a nuisance and a pretty clever way to punish a player who likes to run ahead. They go from being a nuisance to an absolute run stopper. That's right, sleepers summon a horde now. As you can see from this brief visit to Act 1, we hit 3 sleepers before we even got outside. Birds act just as they do on recruit, but considering your horde is going to be doing a lot more damage, it becomes all the more important to avoid those birds. Remember, you can always take them out with a stun gun or a stun grenade or a regular grenade. And because a stronger horde means more trauma damage, it's important to note that even when a teammate goes down and you res them off a wall, like you saw in this clip here, they get an additional 25 trauma damage in addition to anything else they already had. So saving your money to use on those wall medkits to alleviate trauma, or having a doc that can alleviate trauma is so important to a veteran playthrough. And although practice makes perfect when it comes to dealing with these increased difficulty hordes, I like to practice 2 principles. Number 1, you can see demonstrated here, is get high. If there's a school bus or any sort of platform or roof of a building that you can climb up to, and give yourself that superior high ground when you got horde coming in, really goes a long way. You and your teammates can keep each other's backs a little bit more secure. When special infected try to climb up, you can just ding them right in the head. So important thing to consider, get high. And although it is important to have designated DPS and support roles on your team, everybody's got to shoot the big boys. As you saw there, it took me over 2 clips of an Uzi just to knock down that 1 SI. So coordinating your teams where they're putting their bullets at the same time going to go a long way towards eliminating the most damaging threats ASAP. The second principle I like to utilize I call shoot, shove, run, reload, and this pertains to eliminating hordes while conserving your stamina. I'll try to demonstrate it here. Basic idea is to conserve your stamina by standing still while shooting, eliminating threats that are coming at you directly. Once you're out of ammo, shoving anyone that is in your way, using your sprint to get to a safer area so you don't have enemies behind you, and using that sprint to enact your reload. Once you get to a safe area, slash repeat. It may seem like common sense, but in the panic of a horde, it's good to keep these principles in mind so you get the most out of your stamina and you can minimize as much chip damage from hordes that sneak behind you as possible. Because while it is important to shoot zombies off the back of your teammate, another significant difficulty increase going from recruit to veteran is that friendly fire is a thing, and it's a big thing. And it's a hard choice between letting a zombie continue to hit the back of your teammate or trying to shoot it off them, do him a favor, but one wrong twitch on either of your parts and now he's got some buckshot in him. But when it comes to friendly fire, it's not always the shooter's fault. You do have to kind of keep in mind each other's eye lines, where they're shooting, and what they can reasonably expect you to do. Consider it was real life. Some people like to use the example of playing paintball. If you're on a team with your buddy in paintball and he was just shooting in a direction, you're not going to just run in front of him just because he stopped shooting for a second. He could be getting a bead on something. So it's important to not move in front of your teammates without either communicating or being sure from one way or another that you're not going to get shot when they're trying to do their thing in clear combat. Also, all throwables are your friends. While pipe bombs are by far the best because they not only distract the horde, it eliminates them, firecrackers are not to be underestimated either. If you find a gas can on the ground, huck a firecracker and light the ground on fire, that's essentially a pipe bomb right there. Stun grenades can instantly free a pinned teammate and stumble the infected for a couple of seconds, so they're not to be underestimated either. Basically, every throwable has a role, and maximizing them goes a long way. But I do believe every team should have at least one person with a pipe to make it to the end of the level. For emergencies. And while I won't get too much into the idea of different roles for each person on the team, it is important to make the most out of the meds that you come across. Having a good doc, or even a regular doc, can go a long way towards being sure every person gets a bandage, no bandage is left behind, and each bandage heals for the maximum amount. Basically, your team should have 2 big DPS guys, usually a walker or a Jim, that are using ARs or snipers. Your other 2 should be more focused on support roles, like healing or adding buffs to the team, and should focus on using less high damage guns like SMGs and pistols to clear common, allowing the DPS to do their thing against the big threats. Also, when it comes to combat, try to be sure you and your team are all facing different angles so you can kind of catch enemies in crossfire and have each other's backs. While this is of course not always possible, it is good practice. Also on this note, if the team is moving in a linear path, the 2 people and get hoarded out in a choke point or something like that, the 2 people in front should always crouch. This allows the people in the back to shoot over their heads and be a little bit more accurate without the fear of friendly fire. This one simple trick, crouching when you're in front, will go such a long way to you and your team handling hordes on veteran so much better. If you listen to nothing else in this video, listen to that. Crouch when in front. Thanks in advance. Imagine, if you can, that this little pictograph serves as a top-down view of a squad making their way through the level. Up front you have the recon guy, or gal, with usually either a shotgun or a good melee build, aggroing where necessary. Usually they want to be packing a stun gun to get out any sleeper grabs or unfortunate caps while they're separated from the team. But you want this one to be able to clear some common and be able to handle some SI, special infected, big riddens, mutations as well. Bringing up the center, but still closer to the back than they are to the front, should be your main DPS or your long range damage. Best served often by a walker or a Jim, rocking a sniper or an AR with a deck that focuses on damage over anything else. Glass Cannon is a real risk-reward card, but I sometimes like it. Bringing up the rear, we have the medic and support. We've covered medic pretty decently. Knowing your priority is not to do damage. You want to choose that lower caliber gun, leave the good big ammo for the heavy hitters on your team, but keep your team topped off. Support is kind of like a jack of all trades class. I like to sacrifice his damage for some nice team buffs, maybe a couple copper buffs. I like him to carry extra grenades. Usually he's my grenade and ammo mule for the team. And he can just do a little bit of everything. He can scout for gold, he can shoot common. He's not super strong, but he's not super weak, so he's a versatile class that just by nature of him being there, giving those buffs, can kind of round out the team pretty nicely. The 2 damage dealers kind of act as a pair within the squad of 4 to watch each other's backs and prioritize the big heavy damage mutations, and the medic and the support form the other team of 2 and focus more on supporting the DPS and keeping common off everybody, the damage dealers included. Of course, this is all just based on my own subjective personal experience, but I found it to work well for me. Do you have a loadout, formation, or composition for your squad that works well? Let me know in the comments. I love learning new things. Recruit can be a little tricky at first, but if you're as obsessed with this game as me, after a while, getting familiar with the levels, with the mechanics, after building a good deck, Recruit can kind of feel like a breeze. I can speedrun it, treat it like Left 4 Dead, and just blitz through it pretty much all the time now. But Veteran is definitely a different beast. Go slow, check your corners, take your time. Taking that extra hit from a zombie just because you want to get to one place faster, not always worth it in Veteran. Stick with your team and minimize damage. It's really going to help you. It's easy to learn bad lessons on Recruit, such as friendly fire not having an effect, and zombies doing significantly less damage. But once you can kind of get yourself out of these bad habits and just tighten up your playstyle, be a little more disciplined on the trigger, you're going to find yourself vibing with Veteran a heck of a lot better. One of those hard lessons I would encourage you to unlearn, and I'm trying to unlearn myself, that you learn on Recruit, is the use of the combat knife. In previous videos I praised it for turning your melee into a one-shot kill, but the trade-off that I didn't quite realize at the time, and I'm realizing now, is that it significantly diminishes its radius, so you can't really shove back as many zombies as possible. and in most scenarios, you're going to end up putting yourself in an overall better position and maximize the amount of health you save by doing the shoot, shove, run, reload strategy as opposed to trying to knife your way out of a situation because you have that larger radius to shove with. So that's a lesson I'm on learning, and I'll pass that along to y'all. So yeah, there's some tips for you. I'm currently about halfway through Act 3 on Veterans, so I feel a little bit qualified to speak on the subject. I hope you found this video helpful, and be sure to subscribe for more videos. Got some deck techs coming up, and drop a like if you found the video helpful. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.